Good afternoon. Welcome to the February 10th City of Apopka Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. If you all stand with me for a moment of silent prayer and a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. During tonight's meeting, each item on the agenda will have a time set aside for members of the public or affected parties to speak on that matter. If anyone has any matters that are not on the agenda tonight that is planning and zoning related and wishes to speak, now would be the time to be recognized. Seeing none, we'll move on. Item number 1, meeting minutes from January 13, 2026. Do we have any changes to the minutes, additions, subtractions? If not, then we need a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Washington. Thank you, sir. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mott. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 1, ordinance number 3118, Land Development Code, Text Amendment, Town Center Overlay District, Wild Oaks. Owners, Kelly Park BB Development LLC. Applicants, Lounge, Drozdick, Doster, Cantor, and Reed, PA, Cara Terra Tidro. Location, southwest corner of Kelly Park Road and State Road 429. Ms. Sanchez.
Good evening, Jean Sanchez with the Community Development Department. This is a request to recommend approval of a Development Code text amendment establishing the Wild Oaks Town Center Overlay District. This ordinance and the preceding ordinance number 3150 on tonight's agenda represent the culmination of more than 2 years of coordinated work between the applicant, city staff, and consultants to align the Land Development Code, as well as the Comprehensive Plan Future Land Use Amendment. Together, they create a coordinated regulatory framework governing where and how a town center overlay district may be applied and implemented. As part of this process, a joint workshop with Planning Commission and City Council was last held on January 22nd, 2025, outlining the proposed town center overlay district and associated code updates. This graphic illustrates the conceptual block and streets framework required by the Town Center Overlay District. Performance standards for adoption of the overlay includes a minimum project area of 170 acres, inclusion of all 5 KPI character zones of village center, employment, interchange, transition, neighborhood, and inclusion of at least one quadrant of a designated village center character zone. Blocks must be configured to support a highly connected street network with a maximum block perimeter of 2,000 feet, except where physical constraints exist. While the plan is conceptual, all future development must be substantially consistent with the regulating framework. This slide highlights the open space performance standards required by the overlay, where a minimum of 20% open space is required across the entire overlay district. Open space must function as a connected network of parks, plazas, greens, trails, and enhanced stormwater amenities, wherein the standards require that all residents be within a quarter of a mile walk of at least one public open space area. An open space bonus allows residential density to increase from 27.5 to 30 dwelling units per acre if a minimum of 30% open space is provided. The street plan demonstrates circulation and mobility standards required under the overlay. Streets must form an interconnected multimodal network incorporating complete streets principles for pedestrians, bicycles, transit, and vehicles. Internal streets may be public or private, but must follow. Internal streets may be public or private, but must follow the town center street standards and MU KPI street design criteria. An applicant is required to submit a town center master plan, including phasing, regulating plans, signage, parking, and design guidelines to ensure coordinated implementation. The town center overlay district includes clear enforceable performance standards that includes a minimum FAR or floor area ratio of zero point 0.1, maximum 27.5 dwelling units per acre of density with a bonus to 30 dwelling units per acre, maximum building height of 10 stories with required transitions down to 3 stories along Golden Gem Road and adjacent single family areas, and required town center master plan, master parking plan, as well as a master signage plan. The DRC, the Development Review Committee, reviewed the amendment and recommends approval based on the findings of fact and evidence in the staff report. And at this time, staff will turn the presentation over to the applicant for an overview of the proposal. Actually, we'll go ahead and do that after the ordinance number 3150, which is the preceding item. Both the city's consultant and applicant are available to address technical questions as well as the applicant themselves.
Very well. Thank you, Ms. Sanchez. Does anyone have questions of staff?
I got a question, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Dumi.
Just want to make sure, Ms. Sanchez, I heard it correct. With 20% open space, you can have 27.5 dwelling units, and with 30% open space, you can go up to 30 dwelling units per acre.
That's correct.
And
Yeah.
which one are they planning on doing? Do we know?
I would defer that to the applicant. I don't know all the users quite yet, or if they have any in line already. So I'm not sure what
Okay.
density they're going for.
It's a missed opportunity to go to 35% open space, but okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Commissioner Wood.
Excuse me. I saw where Walmart just purchased some land in that area. How close is that to this development?
That is just north of Effie. It's so it's across the street essentially from it.
I'm sorry.
It's across Kelly Park Road.
It's on the other side of California.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I have a question. Ms. Sanchez, as I was reading through the document, there was some comment about the town overlay district as long as it was a specific size in acreage.
Correct.
In that KPI, are there currently any other locations that have that amount of acreage that they're potentially, because if I understood correctly, and what we're looking to approve tonight to then move on to the city, commission for their review and approval or alteration, is that if we approve this town center concept, as long as another location had the same amount of acreage, they could then utilize the same.
They would be eligible for the town center overlay.
Correct.
It would function just like a village center,
Yeah.
except this has size standards. This has to include all 5 other districts within. But yes, those are the performance standards.
Is there any other acreage of that size currently? Not to say that it couldn't be combined at some point in the future. Is there any other that is currently that size?
Vacant, I don't know off the top of my head. I did recently, we Bobby and I looked up some parcels earlier this week for another unrelated issue, but I don't think there's much left in the KPI that you could kind of amalgamate all
Okay.
these parcels, 170. That's pretty large for the KPI.
Yeah.
So I don't think so. You'd be pretty hard pressed to find that.
Okay, thanks.
Right. Anyone else?
Question.
Commissioner Washington.
Just to be clear, the 27.7 dwelling units, then you have with a bonus of up to 30 if they come up with a 30% open space is provided. So are we talking about 27.5 adding another 2.5 units to get to 30?
Yes, sir.
Is that what that means?
Yep.
So then it's a building with many floors. It just means that the building be 1 floor more, higher.
Yes, that could possibly be it. But keep in mind that the KPI allows for taller buildings compared to other parts of the city. For this one in particular, they can go up to 10 stories.
Thank you.
Very well. Does the applicant here, do they have a presentation?
Good evening, Tara Tedrow, Lowndes Law, 2 and 5 North Yola Drive, Orlando, Florida. Just as a quick overview, we have two items that are on the agenda tonight. My colleague Jim Constantine is going to do a presentation that really talks about both because the comp plan amendment and the LDC proposals tie together. So to make it efficient, I understand those are two votes that you'll have to take separate, but we wanted to talk about those under one presentation if that was okay with the commission. Thank you. And just as a reminder, you're probably having a little bit of deja vu as to why we're back to talk about something that we've actually already gone through hearings before you and City Council on. So, as Jean had mentioned, back in January 22nd of 2025, we did have that joint workshop where we went over all of these details. And this is 2 years of planning efforts between ourselves, the city staff, and the city's outside consultant, Alex Stringfellow, to come up with what we believe to be the best master planned community that we can have, meeting the spirit and the intent of the Kelly Park Interchange form-based code and the existing mixed-use policies of the comprehensive plan. So we've added some refinements and tweaks to a large property, 170 acres. We can't think of another one that is going to meet these standards short of assembling a bunch of different landowners who've already developed together, which I can't see the point or how that would happen, which is why we needed a little bit of a unique touch to the project that we have and why we came up with this land development code modification with the assistance of your staff. We did already go on 5/13/25 in front of you all for the comp plan amendment. It was then a first reading on July the 2nd of 2025. And at that time, our comp plan amendment was part of the city's overall comp plan amendment that was being proposed to the state. When that got transmitted, Florida Commerce sent a letter back to the city in September of 25 saying, we have some issues with the comprehensive plan under a bill called SB 180, which basically said cities can't do anything more restrictive or burdensome in regards to regulations. Pretty broad, sweeping piece of legislation that's had some very negative ripple effects in some areas for development, and for the city, it's held up your comp plan amendment getting processed for quite some time. So the city is processing an overall comprehensive plan amendment, but because the state pointed out issues with the city's comp plan that had nothing to do with our town center overlay policies, we talked to staff and they said, you might as well just pull yours out instead of going in with our overall package and run this as a standalone agenda item. That's why we're back before you. Again, that's why it's the same thing that has come before, that was approved at Planning Commission, approved for transmittal to the state, and the state, again, had no comments. We anticipate that that would be the same process when we go back for a transmittal as well after City Council. But just wanted to give you the refresher as to why we're here and kind of doing things, again, that we have already done and already had approved. It really is just a glitch that we got stuck in for the last better part of 9 months from dealing with some issues with some state legislation. But other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions after I have my colleague give a presentation. Thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm Jim Constantine. I'm a principal planning with LRK, Architects and Planners. And is there a just advance one here? Let's see. We go. Keep going. There we go. I think as already has been stated that the Town Center Overlay District is really a pair of text amendments, one for the comp plan for the future land use element, and the other in terms of the land development code for really advancing the vision that's in the KPI. And that vision, the city's vision, is really to create a special place, the sort of places that our firm has dug in and helped design and implement for decades at Celebration in Baldwin Park. And we also study and analyze in historic places like Winter Park, where those special mixed-use places have stood the test of time. And we've really tried to draw on our experience to try to inform what's proposed this evening. The major policies of the future land use element remain unchanged. In fact, they will be advanced by what's proposed. There's really just a series of what staff's memo called clarifying and modernizing some provisions in the code, but the future land use element remains as is and will be advanced because what we're promoting here are ways to better achieve mixed use development, your goal, both vertically integrated, horizontally mixed, and on adjacent parcels. The FLU policies call for mixed use areas to achieve really a high range of high quality design, innovative planning, and environmental goals. And this will be reinforcing those existing policies. It's focused on the MUKPI, which is outlined in red, and the Wild Oaks area within it, which is the largest developable tract outlined in blue and shaded red, located. Zooming in, the primary target area for this mixed-use development is really within the interchange area, 429 and Kelly Park Road, where the city has targeted this as the place for the most intense, dense, mixed-use placemaking and economic growth, where Wild Oaks is, again, the largest and most strategically located parcel in blue. The city's planning efforts guide and concentrate this development at two intersections flanking the interchange. The one at the left, where Wild Oaks is Kelly Park and Golden Gem. We're right at that key location, and we have the most extensive frontage on Kelly Park Road. So again, this large developable parcel gives us a chance to bring to realization the city's vision. It's also worth noting that a lot of the other development out in the MUKPI has been single use at lower density and intensity, not quite meeting what the city's put forward as its full vision. So we really see this as kind of the chance to really do it right. So from this point forward, I'm going to reorient the plans. So West Kelly Park Road is now at the left. Everything in color here is part of the Wild Oaks assemblage. And you can see that we have frontage on all of the streets there, Golden Gem, West Kelly Park, FE, and Sadler. And we also span the 5 character districts that are shown there: Interchange, Village Center, Transition, Neighborhood, and Employment. And you may recall about 2 years ago when our team first came into a joint meeting with P&Z with the City Commission, we identified a multitude of challenges that exist in the existing MUKPI code. Some of these include that open space is calculated separately in each of these character districts. In some districts it's 10%, in some it's 15%, and some it's 20%. We're raising that bar to 20% minimum requirement across the entire new town center overlay district. So we're increasing that amount of open space as an aggregate. The uses are also categorized separately in each of these character districts, which then creates some challenges with mixing uses, density, and intensity that gets restricted across district boundaries. So there's sort of arbitrary lines that create artificial boundaries within what really should be the mixed-use district that the city envisions in the comp plan. So the city asked us to work with staff and your planning consultant, who's here this evening, to work together to figure out a solution. The town center overlay district is the result. And again, it's consistent with and advances all of the major future land use policies. In fact, as stated in the staff report, this amendment is a regulatory framework that supports a true sound town center environment while providing the flexibility for required large-scale master plan development at a location identified in the comp plan as the primary location for mixed-use growth. So the key requirements for applicability would be a minimum of 170 acres. We have to have all 5 character zones in here. And in addition to the area that you see outlined in red, there's one, we show one potential future expansion, which was the original Madison Oaks parcel for multifamily, which could be added in the future. There's also the ability to expand this district elsewhere if we further increase the tract area. The overlay district will replace some of the current KPI code provisions with more functional, flexible, and detailed requirements. So there'll be greater specificity requiring a regulating plan that specifies where the pattern of streets, blocks, and open space is. That's included actually in the code. There's other new requirements that call for the master developer to provide for development and design standards and master parking and signage plans. All of these are really replacing the current standards with things that will be more specific in implementing. And other new requirements include a regulatory framework that, in our experience from decades of working on mixed-use master plan communities, will be more effective in implementing. And that's really what's critical, that as users want to come, there's a way that they can fit in and plug in, and we don't hit some of the roadblocks and challenges inherent in the current code. So some of the community benefits, big picture: increased parks and open space, designed as an integrated network, including counting things that right now under the code, like the green space that you see on the screen here, which is coming in from West Kelly Park Road. That park, which is kind of a central identity and gateway into the community, doesn't count as a park under the current code, but would count with these changes. And so it's really trying to make sure that the code is flexible and allows for the best possible development. And again, there would be an increase in open space across the entire community. There's also tremendous opportunities for non-residential economic development here. Shown in pink at the right is already approved 1 million square feet of flex and industrial space. And in the left, you see in red areas along West Cully Park Road where we've identified opportunities for incoming commercial, medical, retail, service uses that are really awaiting these code changes so they can be best accommodated and that we can deliver the economic development that the city envisions and has targeted here. And then lastly, it's really allowing for more innovative development with creative design by making sure that the vision that the city has actually can be more easily realized as development takes place. So that really concludes the presentation that we have for you.
Thank you, sir. Then we'll have questions of the applicant.
I do. Thank
Commissioner Washington.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that presentation. It's very
You're welcome.
enlightening. Advent Health Hospital. At one point, it was on the east side of 429 and Kelly Park. Now, I understand it's over by the town center. Is that true or not?
Good evening, Joe Beninati. I'm with Wild Oaks, and I just want to go back to the section that's to the northeast, which is right under the 429. That's where Advent's going to be putting this advanced emergency room, and they have decided not to do that on the 6-acre property that they own near Publix.
Okay, so the new location is in one of those red areas? So
Yes,
Is,
yes. And then the next phase of the Advent relationship is for them to put medical offices on the main street on the second and third floors. So these buildings that have been drawn are now advancing to a more detailed stage, and we are trying to get that next phase of the Advent relationship going, which requires us to get this code amendment going as well. So that's where we would see into 28, maybe a bunch of doctors and nurses, administrators, patients that would be coming here, and then a bunch of inline retail on the ground floor, which we have a list as long as our arm on small retailers that want to come, but we just need to get some of the big pieces sorted out first.
this road that's on the screen, and you see the nice park there, and it says Wild Oaks. Is that Effie Lane?
It is not. I'll see if I could. It does not have a pointer, or it does have a pointer. It does. Maybe I can do it with the mouse. Ah, okay. So that Main Street is right here.
Okay.
So Effie and Sadler are currently built. So there are almost 2 miles of roads and tens of millions of dollars of infrastructure, potable water, wastewater, electricity, technology that's already been built and exists underneath the ground right now. Any other question?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Ryan?
it looks like you're relying heavily on parallel parking. Are you planning on building any parking garage?
We do.
You are doing parking garage?
We do.
Because the parallel parking, I think, is going to be very difficult to have ADA compliant parking for people with disabilities.
No, sir.
Because they're wider, they have to be wider, and they have to have an access aisle.
I was at a wonderful event at Lake Nona this past Saturday. It was an outdoor concert, and the design of those structured parking lots with everything painted white with terrific light and the ability to, not be in a dark corner was something that definitely stood out for me. I was with my wife, and she was just saying if, I were designing as a woman a structured parking garage, this is the one that makes me feel safest. So yeah, that's definitely to come.
How many parking garages do you think you'll need?
It will ultimately depend on what types of users decide to go where. And to get into that point in a little bit more detail, obviously we're involved in a project that was going to keep us around here for probably the next couple of decades. So the parking plans of today may adjust as self-driving vehicles come, and we are thinking as much about pickup lanes and drop-off lanes for ride sharing as we are thinking about structured parking.
That's a good idea. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
I had a question.
Commissioner Mott?
You made mention the 20% open space over the 5 overlay districts. Help me understand that. Is that 20% of the 5 total, or is it, because you mentioned there was like 10% in one, 15% in another, and 10% in another. Can you explain that a little bit more so I can grasp is it the total? And you could literally have an overlay district that had 40% open space and then one that only had 5%. Is that a possibility?
I'm going to let Jim
Okay.
respond to that.
Yes, it would be 20% over the entirety. Basically, everything that you see on the screen here is in the town center overlay district.
Okay.
So 20%, and we already, from our concept planning, we're definitely going to exceed that. So, the open space is great for our community, and it's great for the public, and we know that was one of the city's goals was to try to increase that. So right now within the village center core, there's only a 10% requirement, where in the neighborhood district, I believe it's 20, and it's 15 in others. So we just raised the bar and took the minimum up, or took the maximum today under the KPI and made that the minimum for the entirety, but also expanded the range of open spaces. There's very strict requirements in terms of some of the things that qualify as open space, and we really tried to open that whole bundle up. So even dog parks that don't qualify today and trails and things of that nature would all qualify as open space. So it's really a way, and it's going to be designed as a network.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions?
I have Just
Commissioner
one.
Norwood.
At the beginning of your presentation, you mentioned celebration in Baldwin Park, which I know utilize SEPTED principles in their designs. Will this also be utilizing SEPTED principles?
Crime prevention through environmental
Mm-hmm.
design, yes, because really, in terms of having street front relationships, the eyes on the street safety, active sidewalks, a lot of visibility, um,
Right.
it would naturally be that, yes. And also slow moving streets with slow moving
Traffic
traffic,
control devices and such. Okay.
yes. 'Cause you want to have pedestrians out because that's one of the best ways to make a place feel safe, is for it to feel active as a people place.
Okay.
Very well. Anyone else? Very well. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is anyone here from the public who wishes to speak on this matter? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board for discussion. Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't see you, sir. Please give us your name and address for the record.
My name is sorry. My name is Tyler Birch. I'm an attorney with J.C. Wilson and Associates, and our address is 601 North Fern Creek Avenue, Orlando, Florida. Here to speak. We're representing Kelly Park Self Storage LLC, and just have a witness we'd like to have chat for a minute. I'm just going to cede to her and just talk about it real quick. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I'm Kathy Hadaway with Pre-Development Advisors, 473 Devon Place, Lake Mary, Florida, representing Kelly Park Storage LLC, which is a small property owner, flanked now basically on three sides by the new proposed Town Center Overlay District. We have two concerns with the ordinances before you tonight, and I'll just briefly share those concerns. The first is that it is inconsistent with several of your comprehensive plan policies governing the Kelly Park interchange area. And also, it significantly benefits one developer within the Kelly Park interchange area to the detriment of all the other developers and property owners within that area. Specifically, the two comprehensive plan policies that it is inconsistent with are policy 20.10 and 20.30. Those two policies speak to the fact that the highest levels of intensity and density and the tallest buildings in the Kelly Park interchange area should span the area north and south of Kelly Park Road, east and west of State Road 49, in between Golden Gem and the Golden Gem intersection with Kelly Park Road to the west and the Plymouth Sorrento intersection to the east. What these ordinances do is they create a new overlay district in the southwest quadrant of that area that has the highest density of any land in the city, the highest intensity of any land in the city, the highest building height by right of any area. So the development standards that were to be spanning a broader area are now isolated in one specific property. Is my time up? Secondly, with regard to how it benefits one particular developer, I think there were several questions early on in this public hearing relating to the criteria for this overlay district. It's without question, if you read each and every one of them, no other property in this city can qualify for this overlay district. It does benefit one specific developer. And it eliminates the level playing field in the Kelly Park regulating plan. The other property owners are bound by the regulations of their particular district. They know they have to follow the rules for their district, as does every other property owner within that same district. That's no longer the case. Now there's a new and unique set of regulations that far exceed the rights of the others and benefit only one developer. So with that, we would ask that you not recommend approval to the city council for these ordinances. And I do appreciate your time and attention this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this matter? All right. Mr. Howe or Ms. Sanchez, would you care to respond to the?
Yeah, back in 2019, I believe, 2018, 2019, and I know some of you were on this board at that time, the MedTech overlay was approved within the form-based code area. And that basically does allow property off of FE Drive, north of FE Drive, to be reserved for a hospital use. And it reserves it, I believe it says in the code, between 40 and 100 acres. So that's where the impetus for the town center overlay that's being proposed tonight came from, was from that idea. And that's been on the books, the MedTech, for 7 years now.
Very well. Thank you. Ms. Cedro, would you like to respond?
Just briefly in response to what you heard, Bobby did bring up that the MedTech was created again to recognize that some of the properties that are within the KPI have unique features that the code simply was not written, taking into consideration may exist in the future. So the way that the code was written never considered that there could be a 170 acre master planned community. So while a lot of the other developments are one-off, they might be 1 acre to 10 acres to 15 acres, you don't see any other properties that are trying to work around these lines in the sand that were creating some artificial barriers to us being able to do a successful mixed use project. Your staff, like you've heard, spent 2 years working on this with us to try to come up with policies that worked around some of those issues while still meeting the intent of both the form-based code as well as the comprehensive plan. The policies that were questioned are ones that would be modified, so there would not be inconsistencies. You've also heard your staff render the professional opinion that there are no inconsistencies, and in fact, what we're proposing is consistent with your comprehensive plan and the intent and goals behind the KPI. You also heard a question about the highest building height. Just to be clear, the property that she represents is in the interchange district, and the interchange district allows per code today to go up to 10 stories. So that property too could also go to 10 stories under the way the code is written, no different than what we are proposing. So it's not creating some sort of out of scale development around that site. They would have that opportunity as well already to go to 10 stories if they desired. And in my opinion, this does nothing more than raise the property values of all the sites around us. This type of code and the development that we're contemplating and the tens of millions of dollars of infrastructure that have already been put in to create some market-ready pad sites for commercial developers is exactly what the city has been trying to unlock for over a decade in this area. And we've spent a lot of money hoping to get us to where we are today so that we can bring those users online and really create a vibrant mixed-use community that takes into consideration a lot of what the folks have been asking for, not just residents, but the city planners, the intent of the code originally. And I think you have a developer who has a very genuine and authentic desire to bring the best product to this city and is going to be around for quite some time, trying to make this the absolute best master planned community that the city of Apopka can have. And we hope it's going to be a big regional attractor for people to want to come here, spend time, spend money, and hopefully live. So we appreciate the opportunity to come back and respond to the comments that you heard, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you, Ms. Cedro.
Thank you.
Very well. We'll bring it back to the board for discussion and a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to start with the discussion.
Right.
So
Commissioner Dumey.
we're the city government. We're the ones that are supposed to set the guardrails. for how development's going to happen in this city. And I understand this has been undergoing for 20 years. This whole process started, I believe, back in 2004 for the Kelly Park interchange. But whenever I sit there and I've heard 3 or 4 times tonight, but this is a 170-acre project. If we're not going to start with the big fish, how can we expect the small fish to comply as well? And I appreciate the developers. They spent millions of dollars, and I mean, this is actually a pretty nice project. And I appreciate the fact that they increased the open space from 10 to 20%. But I'm very, very disappointed in our elected officials in this city and our city officials for not pushing that to be higher. Why couldn't we push them to 35%? The thing is, we can't and go back to the developer who spent millions of dollars to develop this and say, oh yeah, now you guys are going to be good guys and give up millions of dollars in revenue for open space. It's not going to generate any revenue. I wouldn't expect that. But I'm disappointed in ourselves as a city for not asking them to do that at the beginning of the process. That's my point. So given that, I'm against this.
Okay. I understand your point. I don't know that you can hold the applicant accountable for the actions of the city, but you're allowed that. Anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, I recall a couple of these meetings some time ago, and I walked away from those meetings with the very distinct impression that what was being proposed is what we see tonight. Now, were all the exact rules, the codes, everything done in place? Because if I'm not mistaken, one of the presentations made mention that our current code in the city of Apopka wouldn't allow certain things. And if that weren't looked at and reviewed and changed, then a development like this wouldn't even be able to be started from the get-go. Um, Recently there's been a lot of conversation about urban sprawl, um, and the cost to put the infrastructure in for the urban sprawl, etc. This development is going to compact, an urban sprawl, even though it's 170 acres and could expand a bit. The amount of population that will be in this is, I think, it's the first for Apopka, certainly, and we already know that at this moment there's not another 170-acre piece of property that would be able to use this same type of development. But this has been discussed for a long time, and to get to tonight, and I appreciate the comments that was made, but to get to tonight and this be the first time that I've heard of, opposition to that type of thing. I'm wondering, where was this opposition long ago during the planning phase? So that's just my comments.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Okay, very well. We need a motion.
Chairman, I do have a recommendation, if I may. This is an LDC text amendment, and it's numbered as ordinance number 3118. The comprehensive plan amendment that goes hand in hand with this is numbered 3150. And speaking with staff, of course, it's my understanding that the reason that the Land Development Code text amendment is numbered a lower number than the comprehensive plan amendment is, as you know, just some changes as far as the city's comprehensive plan and sending everything forth for that this is being broken off from the city's efforts. And so right now we're hearing the LDC text amendment prior to the comprehensive plan. What I would recommend is, before making a motion on this particular item, is hearing ordinance number 3150, even though it comes before, or the number is after 3118, it still essentially precedes the text amendment because it will become effective first. And if there are changes to the comprehensive plan, and there are, that are addressed in that ordinance that affect this particular ordinance with the code change, it makes sense to hear that first, since that is contingent upon the comprehensive plan amendment, and to vote on that first.
Very well. All right, right, we're gonna table the motion for item number one for the time being, and then move to item number two. Ordinance number 3150, comprehensive plan. Future land use text amendment, Wild Oaks, owners Kelly Park VB Development LLC, applicants Lowndes, Drosdick, Doster, Cantor and Reed, Terra El Tidro, location southwest corner of Kelly Park Road and State Road 429. Ms. Sanchez.
For the record, Jean Sanchez with the Community Development Department. This is a request to recommend approval of the comprehensive plan text amendment to the future land use element for the Wild Oaks property. Subject property is located at the southwest corner of Kelly Park Road and State Road 429 and consists of approximately 304 acres. This amendment is a policy level companion to ordinance number 3118, as you've heard, which amends the land development code. The purpose of 3150 is to update and modernize the future land use element and formally recognize the town center overlay district within the mixed use Kelly Park interchange area. The amendment revises goals, objectives, policies, and tables to support large scale master planned mixed use town center at the Kelly Park interchange. The amendment does not change the future land use map, and doesn't affect properties outside of the KPI area. Instead, it establishes clear policy direction for low density, intensity open space, and multimodal connectivity that are addressed at the comprehensive plan level. Staff is highlighting 4 key future land use element policies and table updates in your staff report. It's policy 20.5, table 20.10, table 20, and policy 20.20. The policies are intended to function together as a cohesive policy framework supporting the town center overlay district. The amendment is closely aligned with the comprehensive plan advancing policies that discourage urban sprawl, concentrate density and intensity at major transportation node, and promotes walkability, mixed-use development supported by the transit and open space. The future land use element continues to preserve all existing Wekiva study area protections, including environmental safeguards, density limitations outside of the KPI, and resource protection policies. So there's no policy that is limiting those or changing those. The policy direction reflected in the future land use amendments were previously discussed at the joint workshop meeting prior to these formal hearings. And so therefore, the Development Review Committee recommends approval of the proposed amendment. The recommended motion, of course, is to recommend approval of this comprehensive plan text amendment, as well as approval of the transmittal to Florida Commerce.
Thank you, Ms. Sanchez. I don't know if there's anything else to go over from the applicant. Does anyone have questions of staff? Anyone have questions of the applicant? Very well.
Sir,
Did anyone? Oh,
can I make a comment? This is
sure.
Joe Beninati of Wild Oaks. Can I make a comment about the open space? Obviously, there's a lot of master planning still going on. The design is fluid, and we can't command the market as to what they'll do. So we have to work hand in glove. But we are not only we're not stopping at 30. We have the potential to get above 30, and if we have an opportunity to get to 31, 32, 33, we have every intention of taking it. And that would be inclusive of our parks or any water features, anything that folks can actually enjoy while they're at Wild Oaks. That's our goal. And I think you all have heard me say this a dozen times over the years. Our aspiration is for people to come home on a Sunday evening, work at Wild Oaks all week, go to the gym, go to the restaurants, jog around on the paths, and not really use their car for 7 days. And part of trying to achieve that goal is with as much open space as possible. That's not just a big field, but also things that people can enjoy. So I just wanted to address it. It is at the top of our list, not at the bottom of our list.
Very well.
Okay.
Thanks, sir.
You're welcome.
Does anyone from the public here wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board for discussion and a motion.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, I would like to make a comment to the previous
Commissioner
comment.
Dewey?
So my ask would be that you guys make every effort to make as much open space as reasonably possible with your makes financial sense. I appreciate your comment about that, and I will support this, and I'll change my vote to yes, but I'm asking, do you guys make every reasonable accommodation to make the maximum amount of green space possible, open space? So that's my ask.
You have my word on that.
All right. We need a motion.
I have a question. Should the motion
Sure.
be for,
Commissioner Norwood?
should the motion be for 3118 and 315 together, or should we
No,
do
we're
it still?
two separate motions.
Okay.
But we want to have this one on the record first, and then we'll go back and do the
And do
motion on the
second.
second.
Okay.
So we need a motion on 3150.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make the motion to recommend approval ordinance number 3150, amending the future land use element of the comprehensive plan and transmittal to Florida Commerce.
Thank you, sir. Motion by Commissioner Mott. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dewey. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, we're going to revert back to, I'm going to go ahead and read it through. Ordinance number 3118, Land Development Code, Text Amendment, Town Center Overlay District, Wild Oaks. We need to get a motion on that, please.
Mr. Chairman, before you make that motion, I just want to make sure we have something on record that states we are correcting the ordinance for 3118 to include that the effective date to be after the approval of 3150.
Wouldn't it be? We just did approve the other one.
It would be based on the adoption of 3150. That's the effective date of 3118.
Okay, do we need to read something different in the motion?
I don't believe so, sir. It's an internal staff correction.
Okay. Well, if you need a different date, we have to come back tomorrow and read it?
I'm sorry?
Okay.
Second Tuesday of next week.
I'm so sad I missed your joke. I'm sorry.
I can help with the motion if there's a motion that ultimately, if somebody makes a motion to go forward, I can help couch the motion simply because the consistency finding with the comprehensive plan would be contingent upon approval of 3150. And in addition to that, I would include in the motion, subject to the changes that staff described, that this particular amendment becomes effective after 3150 becomes effective, if adopted.
So we need to read that in the motion?
Yes, sir. That's what I would recommend.
All right. We need a motion. Does anyone want to take a challenge?
Yeah, I'll take the challenge, Mr. Chairman. Why not? So, given our previous discussion and the ask and the response, I'll make the motion to find the proposed amendment consistent with the comprehensive plan and compatible with the character of the surrounding area, recommending approval of the proposed land development code text amendment based on the findings and of fact and the evidence presented in the staff reports and exhibits, given that this will take effect after adoption of motion 3150, ordinance 3150, that was previously
Very well.
voted on.
Thank you, sir. Motion by Commissioner Dewey. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Ryan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, item number 3,
Oh, did they?
special exemption 355 South Hawthorne Avenue. Owners Michael R. Cooper Construction, Inc. Applicant Michael R. Cooper. Location 335 South Hawthorne Avenue. Do we, this is quasi judicial, so I have to ask, has anyone here had ex parte communication on this matter?
No.
Very well. Mr. Hamza.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Amir Hamza. I'm a planner. The applicant has submitted a special exception request to allow a list of uses on the site located at 335 South Hawthorne Avenue. And right here is the uses that are being requested for the special exception permit. And the following uses are permitted through a special exception in the mixed-use downtown zoning district, which is the current zoning of the property. The applicant is requesting the listed uses under a special exception permit as they want to sell the property, but be able to also market the property at a higher value with these allowed uses under the special exception permit. These are the vicinity and aerial maps of the property. The total area of the property is 2.42 acres. The 335 South Hawthorne site is currently vacant but has an approved site plan under the name Hawthorne Business Center. The property has a future land use of commercial currently and has a zoning of mixed use downtown as shown on these maps. Here's a list of special exception review standards the applicant must comply to according to a land development code. Here is the approved site plan of the 335 South Hawthorne Avenue site under Hawthorne Business Center. The Development Committee recommends approval of a special exception to allow the listed uses. The recommended motion for Planning Commission is to approve a special exception to allow the listed uses. Staff and applicant are available for further comments or questions.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Anybody have questions of staff? Commissioner Wood.
Why are we or being requested to allow? I see casinos aren't in here, so
Let me go back to the list of uses.
it's such a broad special exception. My concern is somebody goes in and develops a property for one thing, and then they're open to change it to anything they want. My understanding of a special exception is for a specific thing that is normally not in that area, but is comparable to what is there already. So I'm just totally confused on why there's such a broad special exception being asked for.
Again, as I mentioned before, that these uses that are listed on here are permitted under a special exception in the mixed use downtown zoning district under that permit. And again, they want to have these uses so they could market the property for someone to buy. And when someone uses there are multiple uses on the special exception permit currently, but when let's say a developer or someone were to buy the property, and they use one of the special exception, one of the allowed uses under the special exception permit, within 2 years that the other uses would expire, and that use would only be there. So, end of the day, it would be someone would pick one out of all these uses. They wouldn't have all of these uses in one building.
All right. Anyone else? Commissioner Mott.
Mr. Hamza, the drawing that you had up on the screen, that's just that's not what's going to be there. Is that?
It currently is approved. The site plan was already approved under the DRC. Okay. So this has already been signed by every department, and currently the site plan is right now. It's not going to expire until April of this year, so it's still permitted.
So it appears that there's two buildings, correct?
Correct.
Two physical buildings.
Correct.
And what we're trying to determine, those two buildings would go up, and then if we gave the special exemption, any one of these things could go in one of those two buildings. Is that what I'm?
That would be correct, but there are certain uses on the special exception permit on here, on the uses on here, where some of them are industrial uses as well, not just commercial. So they would have to most likely do a future land use amendment. So it really depends what the special exception permit is there for all these uses. But if someone wants to do like an industrial use in this list of uses, they would have to do a future land use change.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Anyone else? Does anyone have, the applicant have presentation?
Yeah.
What's he want me to do? Pardon? What did you want? Oh, if you have any presentation or any comments.
Mike Cooper, Cooper Construction. Um, as far as what we want to do, so you understand on the special exceptions, is that we want to give the property additional exceptions, and we want it to blend in with the neighborhood. As of right now, if we go with the permissible uses, they've for gardens and vape shops and restaurants and things like that. They don't blend into the neighborhood. This neighborhood has South in construction, just like I gave you guys some information on it. It's got storage areas. It's got a large communication tower. The area across the street, and I'm not saying anything bad about it. I'm just saying it just doesn't blend in to retail spaces, and that's what a lot of the permissible spaces actually indicate, that they would like to have some type of a retail space in there, and it just doesn't work in the area. So that's the main reason we ask for the special exceptions, because it does allow us to go with some other areas. Also, those that do know me, I do have a pretty nice building, and we're not going to put anything in there that's not going to enhance the entire area. And that's what we really like to do, is we want to try to clean up any area that is a little bit rough, and all the way down from Ocoee Apopka Road all the way up to the railroad tracks on uh, Bradshaw. I've developed all those 55 buildings, and we've really cleaned up the area. And there's no reason that we can't help this area out. And that's our main goal, is to try to help the city and do the best we can do to do what we can to enhance the city, and especially the downtown use. We had a Popka, a Christian Academy in there, and to be honest with you, I worked with them for almost a year and a half. That's why the very little has been done on the property. And I suggested to them that having no actual, real, true parking. When you have a school, you have a lot of parking that's required. That's all there is to it. And there wasn't enough parking that I felt would enhance and take care of the area. So I suggested to them that they own 37 acres down on 441. I suggested to them that they turn around and let's build down there. Let's not try to do this. And another problem they had was future use. There's no future use. It's a little less than 2.5 acres, and parking is a problem if you have schools and things like that. Any type of a school, a church, which that is all under permissible uses. It just doesn't work because there's just not enough parking. And we went across the street to Quest to see if they want to sell us that property so we could help this Apopka Christian Academy help them. And they didn't want to sell. They didn't want to do anything. And across the street, we tried to buy that, and they're not willing to sell. But 500 feet away, we're putting in a nice building. And on the last page of the brochure that I got you, that'll show you the rendering, and we're almost done with the building. And it's going to be quite a very, very nice building, and the landscaping's good, everything. And it helps the neighborhood again. The neighborhood down there is on 4th Street is I'm not going to say depressed, but it, it's just not the it's anyway. I think you got the point. So that's the main emphasis, to go with a special exception, because it gives us a little more avenues, few more avenues to actually get good areas and good tone and owners, tenants, or whatever in there.
Thank you, sir. Does anyone have questions of the applicant? Very well. Thank you, Mr. Cooper. Does anyone from the public wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I got a motion. Just looking at this property, I know some people that have dealt with Mr. Cooper, and also been down there many times to see his buildings, and it's a quality product. And we appreciate it. I know you've been a good partner with the city, even though I will remind you kind of in a funny way that I called you a couple of years ago to ask you a question and you hung up on me. tell me you didn't want to get in politics. I appreciate that though. So, given that, anyways, I'll be happy to create the motion if anybody doesn't have any other.
Go ahead.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve a special exception to allow the listed uses in the MUD mixed use downtown zoning district, subject to the exhibits and findings of the staff report.
Thank you, sir. Motion by Commissioner Dumey. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Wood. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. There you go. All right. That means you have to not hang up on him now, Mr. Cooper. All right. On to site plans. Item number 1, residences at Emerson Park, major development plan, construction site plan revision. Owners, Park Square Enterprises LLC. Owners, Park Square Enterprises LLC. Applicants, George Gregory P.E., care of Vanessa Hangden Bruslin, Inc. Parcel identification, location east of Apopka Road, west of Alston Bay Boulevard, and south of Harmon Road East. Ms. Sanchez.
Before we get started, I'd like to recuse myself from this. I'm a resident of Emerson Park and a former board member, and they have litigation, which I'm fairly knowledgeable about, so I would like to recuse myself.
Very well. Would we have him step out until this item is over with, and then call him back?
No, there's no need to have him step out. I mean, if he wishes to step down just to show that he's not participating, that's fine.
Okay.
So-
All right, Ms. Sanchez.
For the record, Jean Sanchez with the Community Development Department. This is a request to approve or to recommend approval of the major development plan and construction site plan revision for the residences at Emerson Park, a previously approved 103 unit townhome community. The development was originally approved by City Council in 2020, and all subdivision infrastructure has since been constructed and accepted by the city, with a certificate of acceptance issued on February 6, 2025. So, vertical construction of the townhomes have been underway. The project is located east of Apopka Road, west of Alston Bay Boulevard, and south of Harmon Road East, within the Emerson Park development area, and it is over 14 acres in size. Surrounding land uses are primarily mixed use and residential, including the existing Emerson Park residential subdivision to the north and the east, as well as the Greystone Apopka Health and Rehabilitation Center to the south. No changes are proposed to external access points surrounding roadways or adjacent properties as part of this request. All access, circulation, and emergency connectivity remain as previously approved. The subject property has a future land use designation of mixed use and zoned MUESGT or mixed use East Shore Gateway. The proposed revisions do not change the approved density or intensity, which remains at 103 residential units, or approximately 7.2 dwelling units per acre. Staff has reviewed the proposal for consistency with Comprehensive Plan and Land Development Code once again and finds that the revised layout remains compliant with all applicable zoning and development standards. The applicant is requesting a limited revision to the previously approved major development plan and construction site plan. Specifically, the proposal replaces 12 two-car garage townhome buildings with an updated one-car garage product, specifically on lots 1 through 18, 49 through 60, and 67 through 99, and the formal designation of open space tract OS-8. These revisions are confined to building footprints, internal lot grading, sidewalks, and driveway geometry. Importantly, no changes are proposed to the completed infrastructure. Parking continues to be provided through a combination of garage spaces, driveways, and on-street parking. Under the Land Development Code, the project requires a minimum of 170 off-street parking spaces. The revised plans provides 476 spaces. Pedestrian circulation, internal street alignments, and emergency access, as I said before, is unchanged and remains compliant with the LDC. Required buffers are provided with canopy trees like live oak and southern magnolia, supported by understory and accent trees, including crepe myrtle and loblolly pines, along with shrubs and fencing where it's required. Foundation landscaping is provided along all townhome buildings with shrubs and ornamental trees. The proposed revisions do not include the reduction of landscaping, buffer widths, or open space. An open space tract OS-8 is fully landscaped and integrated into the site design. The DRC recommends approval, therefore, the recommended motion is to recommend approval of the major development plan, construction site plan revision for the residences at Emerson Park.
Okay. And for clarification, this plan was
It has been
in
approved.
2020, and the only changes is just the townhomes are going from the 2-car to the single car.
Yes, sir.
That's
Correct.
the only
Yep.
change to the whole plan. Very well. Okay. Just want to clarify that.
That and the designation of open space tract OS-8.
Correct. Okay.
Well, just-
Thank you. Any questions of staff?
Yes.
Commissioner Washington.
Just building on your question, so do the elevations of the homes change?
No. Footprint.
We haven't received new elevations. I'd have to defer that to the applicant when they come up here to answer.
All right.
Anyone else have questions? Staff? Commissioner Mott?
Where would we discuss the letter that's been sent to Mr. Howe? Now or later?
A letter pertaining to this issue?
Yes. It was in the.
Well, hang on.
It was in the packet.
Yeah, but
Okay.
that pertains to this, what we're talking about right now. May come up later, but what we're talking about right now.
Well, that's why I'm just saying, is it now or later? Okay.
Can you clarify that?
It's fine to address the letter, but my advice is to proceed as normal unless there's a court order that requires that you do not do so. By reviewing the letter and then taking making a decision based on what the content of the letter is, the Planning Commission would be taking a side in the litigation, and that's something that doesn't involve the city, so it's something that Planning Commission should not do.
So we just consider it information in the packet and no more. Okay. Very well.
Yes, sir.
All right, Commissioner Ryan.
So you're going from, the townhouses are going from 2-car garage to 1-car garage. Are they making up the difference for parking on the street?
Well, they were already over LDC required parking spaces to begin with, so they.
They're going to cut the garage in half. That's half the capacity there. It's going to put more cars on the street.
Well, I'll defer your question over to the applicant. I did put a calculation in there.
Some of these townhouses have 3 bedrooms.
I don't think we have a list of the bedrooms.
3 bedrooms, that's going to be a good chance there's going to be 3 drivers. So that unit is only on one place to park. There's going to be a problem parking.
Mr. Ryan, the code bases parking on the number of, it's basically so many spaces per unit. So it doesn't take into account bedrooms, it's per unit. So I believe single family home is 2.
Yeah, we consider per unit, as Bobby said, as well as it considers I think it's 0.5 per visitor that it anticipates.
We don't take into consideration bedrooms. We should in the future.
Yeah.
I'm just saying there's going to be some problem with parking if you're going from a 2-car garage to a 1-car garage and you have 3 bedrooms. That's a problem.
And the staff report states that the revised MDP CSP provides 476 parking spaces. And how many units are
With
100.
a 2-car garage or with a 1-car garage?
That's inclusive of the 1-car garage, yes. Yeah, there's
So
103 units.
they're not converting the entire townhome 103 unit to one car garages. It's only for certain amount of units. I think it's about 50% they're converting into one car garage. So it's 476 spaces for 103 units. But I'm sure the applicant would be happy to go further when it's
Right. You want to hold that question, you can just ask the applicant. Okay. Okay. All right. Very well. Thank you, Ms. Sanchez.
Hi, good evening. My name is Joseph Kovashesh. I'm an attorney at the Lowndes Law Firm, 215 North Eola Drive, Orlando, Florida. I'm here with Mr. George Georgie, who's chomping at the bit. He's our engineer to answer some of these questions. Before he comes up, I do want to say that we agree with the staff recommendation. We are available to answer any additional questions you have. And I just want to understand for my own benefit, did I hear you say you're not going to consider the information in that letter in making your decision?
No, not until it comes
Well,
out.
not that we would not consider it, but not to be an item of discussion any more than a person from the public speaks. It's a piece of information in the packet for our edification, but I don't think that it's a subject matter we'd bring up here and put one side out there without the whole board here hearing it. And as our attorney says, it's not necessary to discuss it.
Understood. To the extent it does come up later or the board has any questions, I'm happy to provide the applicant's stance on the letter.
Very well.
With that, I will let Mr. Georgie come up and answer, I think, some of the questions you had about the site plan.
Good evening, George, I'm the EOR, 225 East Robinson Street, in Orlando, the civil engineer on the job. So, to answer your question in regards to the parking, so as Gina mentioned, we're not changing all of the townhome buildings. It's about half of those that are being changed from having two garage units to a single garage unit. As far as parking is concerned, the code requires for the entire development about 170 parking spaces. We're providing over 470. So as parking is concerned, there should not be any issues there. It should be plenty of spaces as far as in the driveway, on-street parking, and the garages. That's as far as parking. Building elevations, I think there was a question about that. The rear elevations, we added another elevation depiction on the plan showing having the single car garage versus the two. It's consistent with the development in general with the remaining elevation, just the elimination of that additional of the smaller detached garage.
How many total units are there?
Can have, so it's a 103 unit townhome.
103 total units in the whole complex, not what you're asking to revise.
That's the total. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So I asked a question about the elevation.
4.56.
I was just curious. So you're going from 2-car garage to 1-car garage. So something has to change somewhere. Are you increasing the living space to, that if you're giving up space for a garage, are you going to create more living space?
So these are detached garage. The space is not getting added to the to the square footage of the building. It's becoming just an open space next to the single car
Okay, so
garage.
the garages are detached?
Yes.
Okay, never mind. That's it.
Okay.
Makes sense now.
Okay. Big garage. Yeah. No. Good.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Oh, hang on. I do have. What is the total number of units that are going to be reduced? How many 2-car garages are going to 1-car garage?
Have to get back on the exact number, I believe we had 103 total units, and it was around 60 units that were changing. Um,
That will be changed.
that will be changing. Yep.
Very well. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here from the public that wishes to speak on this matter? Your name and address for the record, please, ma'am.
Good evening, Mr. Howell, members of the staff, chairman, and committee. My name is Jennifer Hay. I am the president of Emerson Park HOA, and I'm speaking on behalf of them. First, I'd like to thank you for your time and for the city's continued responsiveness to our community. We value our partnership with the city and appreciate the opportunity to share information before decisions are made on the revised plans submitted by Park Square for the residences at Emerson Park. Our request tonight is straightforward and measured. We respectfully ask the city to defer or not approve at this time. The revised plans currently under review until pending litigation regarding a wall and property boundary issue is resolved. This is not an attempt to delay development. It's about ensuring that any approvals the city grants are based on accurate, verified site conditions and not on assumptions. There is currently an active litigation concerning a wall retaining structure that the Emerson Park Homeowners Association contends was constructed approximately 6 feet onto our property, including underground foundations. This work occurred without authorization, our authorization. In our lawsuit, we are asking the court to require removal of the wall, restoration of the property, and compensation for damages. While we understand the wall previously went through the city approval processes, we believe that approval may have been relied on incorrect or incomplete boundary information. Despite public record requests, we have not been able to identify and determine exactly what surveys or ownership documentation supported that approval. To clarify, we are seeking further records through formal legal channels so the facts are fully understood. In addition to the boundary issue, an independent arborist, the same professional used by the city of Apopka, confirmed that construction along this wall cut into significant old growth tree roots, 17 of them. The opinion of that is that these impacts may ultimately kill the trees along that corridor. That affects not only just aesthetics, but safety, long-term maintenance, and property values within our neighborhood. Here's where it directly intersects with the plans before you tonight. If the court determines that the wall must be removed or relocated, that relocation could affect setbacks, building footprints, grading, drainage, access, landscaping, and the service road that's adjacent to this wall. Even if the current revisions appear unrelated, a court-ordered change could force substantial redesign and re-permitting of exactly the elements now under review. Approving plans now creates 3 practical risks. First, approvals could be based on disputed boundary assumptions. Second, the applicant may have to return or provide additional major revisions. And third, the city and staff could end up duplicating review work, costing time and public resources. Deferring action until litigation is resolved is simply assures that the future approvals are durable, accurate, and not subject to rework. Separately, there is an ongoing litigation regarding cost sharing for roadway improvements along Alston Bay Boulevard. I mention this only to provide context that these disputes reflect broader, unresolved development obligations that affect the community. I'm almost done. The association did not pursue litigation lightly. We spent more than a year attempting resolution through meetings and mediation before taking legal action. So tonight, we respectfully ask the city to do 3 things. Defer or deny approval of the revised plans until the wall or boundary issues are resolved. Require updated surveys and verified boundary documentation before future approvals. And include our concerns in the official record so decision makers have complete information. We remain committed to working collaboratively with the city and the applicant to find practical solutions for all parties. Our goal is simply to ensure that development proceeds correctly, lawfully, and with full transparency. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank Thank you.
I have a question. Is the city of Apopka named as a defendant in the lawsuit?
Hold up. Let me clarify something. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Litigation has absolutely nothing to do with what we have in front of us. And us discussing a litigation between the city and another person would be completely out of line.
It does not include the city, just the applicant up for discussion this
Mr.
evening.
Hayden, was that an improper question to ask if the city was involved?
It's fine. Again, letters so forth, and unless there's a court order requiring that you take that into consideration, ultimately what the planning commission is responsible for doing is taking into consideration the evidence and so forth and reviewing the criteria. So unless there's a court order that requires that the planning commission take into consideration evidence regarding any type of litigation, it's something that you should not rely on. Correct.
I just think this is just between two private parties, and in my opinion, the city is not involved. Am I correct?
Unless there's a court order that has action and the city must take it, and I have not heard that, then that's correct.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I would say that a litigation between other parties, for us to take that in consideration would be out of line. This actually would be leverage used on one side or the other, and it doesn't have any bearing on what the issue is. Are we going to approve the adjustment to this pre-approved plan?
I agree with that.
Okay. All right. Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this matter? Very well. Yes, sir.
If I may just briefly, respecting your comments on the status of the pending lawsuits, just for the record of this body, the owner and applicant deny any wrongdoing in the ongoing lawsuits. The owner applicant is seeking approval, I suppose, subject to the risk of the lawsuits. And there is a procedure in litigation to get an injunction on an emergency basis. The standard is extremely high until the lawsuits are finished, and that has not happened here. So we would respectfully request this board proceed regardless of the fact that lawsuits were filed. There is no finding of wrongdoing or fault yet, and the lawsuits themselves have nothing to do with whether there's a one-car garage or a two-car
I
garage.
understand, sir. I think I clarified that as completely irrelevant to the matter at hand for us.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you. All righty. Bring it back to the board for a motion. We need a motion one way or the other.
Okay, I'll stab at this one here. So when we look at the facts of this situation, it is consistent with the comprehensive plan. It is consistent with the land development code. And I think we have to go forward with this, approving it. So I'll make the motion to find the proposed residences at Emerson Park major development plan construction site plan revision consistent with the comprehensive plan and land development code, and recommend approval of the major development plan construction site plan revision based on the findings and facts presented in the staff report and exhibits.
Thank you, sir. Motion by Commissioner Dumey. Do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Ryan. Thank you, sir. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to abstain from voting on this.
Okay. One abstention. Motion carries. All righty. Can you get Mr. Woods back? Oh, there he is. He's still here.
And just for the record, in the event of an abstention, just do need to cite the reason for the abstention.
Well, I think it does meet the plan and that type of thing. I think there is potential liability because apparently after 1 year, no one can produce surveyed site plans according to this individual. And I would think after 1 year, somebody should be able to create, have some surveyed site plans. So I think there's potential liability, and this liability would not exclude the city of Apopka from not being named in a suit because they were the ones that approved the plan.
So, but if that's the case, isn't the city council the responsible party for that, not
Yeah, that's
us?
completely irrelevant to what we have in front of us. We're not litigating a case, and we're not.
I'm not saying I'm litigating the case. I'm just saying I'm abstaining from that vote, and he wanted to know the reason, and I just gave it.
Very well. All right. Item number 2, Cold Link Apopka Major Development Plan owners MG88 Central Florida Cold Storage. Applicants Joshua Enot, location 2560 West Orange Blossom Trail. Mr. Hamza.
For record, Amir Hamza, planner. The applicant has submitted a major development plan for property located at 2560 West Orange Blossom Trail, which is just east of Stewart Avenue and west of Lakeview Drive. The major development plan is called Cold Link Apopka, which consists of a proposed new warehouse building on the existing site. The new building has a total area of 147,624 square feet. These are the vicinity and aerial maps of the 2560 West Orange Blossom Trail site. The total site area is 27.63 acres. The future land use of the site is industrial, and the zoning of this site is light industrial. This is the Cold Link Apopka Major Development Plan. There's the existing warehouse there, and then they're going to add an additional building, as I mentioned before. The Development Review Committee has recommended approval. Recommended motion is to recommend approval of the Cold Link Apopka Major Development Plan. Staff and applicant are available for further comments and questions.
Thank you, sir. Anyone have questions of staff?
Yes.
I do.
Commissioner Ryan.
No, my question to you is, the irony is that I drove by this the other day and I wondered, because we did approve something with this plan, was it a year, maybe 2 years ago? And what was that, and what's the status of that?
So I know that we did because there was 2 properties right there that were in the county, so they needed to be annexed into the city first, and then we also put in a future land use and zoning to match the existing property. So now they're coming in with the plan to develop alongside.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Ryan.
Okay, is there a road between that property and Lakeview Drive?
Which road?
Yeah, I can see, I can go back.
Right here?
No, go back. Go back. The architectural drawing.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Looks like there's a road.
Oh no, that's an unimproved right of way. There's an unimproved right of way, but there's no road on there. So the access will be from Lakeview Drive.
Who owns that road?
I believe that was a platted county right of way back in the original plat of the town of Plymouth back in like the 1800s. It's a paper right of way, so it's not an existing piece of right of way. So you wouldn't even know it's there if you went out in the field and saw it.
Okay, well, I can see it here on the illustration.
Yeah, they labeled it because it shows up on the survey. That's why.
Are they going to use that unimproved road?
Not to my knowledge, no. It's unimproved. It's an unimproved right of way.
Right. But
Yes.
yeah, people still use unimproved roads.
Right. You don't even know it's there. That's what I'm saying. It looks like it's literally a piece of property.
Are they going to use the road that they don't even know is there?
Right. Yeah.
Are they going to use that road?
I would ask the applicant that question.
I would defer to the applicant.
Okay.
Hang on, sir. 1 second. Anyone else have questions of staff?
Well, on this point about the
Commissioner Washington.
Mayflower Avenue, in the document that we're reading, it says access to the site is proposed from Mayflower Avenue to the south of the site. Mayflower Avenue right-of-way will be improved to city standards. So, yeah, it was undeveloped, but it says here that someone is going to improve the road for use.
That would be the developer who's going to improve the Mayflower Avenue to city standards.
We discussed that last time they were in front of us.
Yeah.
The Mayflower Avenue would be used.
Yeah, and that was when we had the property to the east that was going to be developed as the Floor and Decor tile store. Remember
Right.
the discussion about Mayflower improvements came up at that point in time. The applicant is committing to improve Mayflower on this property.
Right. Anyone else? Very well. The applicant here.
Yes, sir. Good evening, everyone. Carlos Lopez, representing the ownership for Coldlink Logistics. Just to answer your question, sir, no, we're not going to use that road, and we are going to improve Mayflower Road. And we also have here Kimberly Horner, civil engineer, as well as Titman Construction, which is our contractor, is going to build the building. If you gentlemen and ma'am have any questions.
Do you own that unapproved road?
Excuse me?
Do you own that unapproved road? Who owns that property?
Commissioner Ryan, I just looked at the property appraisers database. That right-of-way was vacated a couple of years ago. So half went to one property owner and half went to the other.
Okay, I got you. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, it's all trees there now. So couldn't even see that little road there.
Okay.
Anyone else have questions? Mr. Miles.
So I remember when this came up before, and I had some comments and concerns about the flow of traffic
Yes.
that is there. So if you have design people, that type of thing, is this going to be a right in, left out on Mayflower even after it's improved? And will it have a turning radius that will accommodate large semi trucks?
So we did do a traffic study, sir. I believe the question to your answer is yes, but I would, let Kimberly Horn speak in more detail to that.
Manny Rodriguez, Kinley Horn, professional engineer, 9458. That intersection will remain as a full axis, and it will be designed to accommodate turning radius for vehicles.
Okay, that's good because I travel this often, and currently there are those 53-foot trailers that come out and do a left turn onto Lakeview. And Lakeview many times is backed up to the intersection at Lakeview and Binion. And the truck making that turn has to turn into oncoming traffic just to make the turn. So it's I think it needs to be a right in, right out only, so that they can at least go to the light or go to the four-way stop, then go all the way to the end of Binion, where it then connects back to 441, where there is a light. There is a light there at Lakeview, but that little tiny, 441 in Lakeview, that is, in my opinion, an extreme safety hazard for fire, ambulance, anything like that. There would be no way to get through there.
Yep. So we are part of the traffic study, as you may be familiar. We do traffic counts during the AM and PM peak hours, 7 to 9, 4 to 6. That's when the traffic is at its highest, right? Going to work and going home. We analyzed that intersection as well as the signal, and that was based on the methodology as agreed up with staff. And the volume exiting from Mayflower is not substantial, right? This addition of this development is going to generate 18 peak trips in the peak hour. So imagine for a full hour, they're only going to see 18 trips coming in and out total. So that's like one every 3.3 minutes. So not substantial. Typically, these type of generators would be considered de minimis because they don't have a substantial impact on the adjacent street traffic. But we are aware of the kind of current backing up. It's just the number of trucks exiting at that Mayflower is not going to be high. So they might be waiting for a little bit to get a gap, right? But they will be able to make that movement because there's just not a lot of trucks exiting. It's just only like 18 during the peak hour. It's a very minimal truck traffic.
Now that light at Lakeview and 441, Mr. Howe, if I understand correctly, that is the responsibility of the state of Florida?
I think so. Isn't that correct?
That
Eugene? Is that a FDOT signal? Yes.
Yeah.
Is it? Are you going to try and get that retimed
Uh,
during your peak?
Yep. So those are part of our recommendations. Typically, when we see stuff like that, we would coordinate with DOT and tell them, hey, based on our study, we think we need to change the timings a little bit. And that's a very super easy thing to do, and to go out there and have to make those changes. I do want to add that as part of this traffic study, we did recommend to extend that left turn on US 441 coming down on Lakeview Drive. So that's one of the improvements that we are going to do, because we identified that that turn lane was a little bit small and we needed to accommodate the trucks, and we want to make sure they do that effectively. But yes.
I think it would certainly help if it was the timing of that light was, to accommodate your heavy traffic. So thanks.
Yep. You're welcome.
Commissioner Wood.
Why? What harm would it cause you to not be able to make a left turn
Sorry, what?
out of your
Harm?
property? Why would it be harmful to you to have a right turn only?
That would, it's kind of hard to answer, sir. It's more of the truck drivers that service and pick up from our building that would decide depending on which way they're going. I couldn't really answer that to
But
be whether it would be harmful or not for them.
well, they would be going to 441 anyhow.
Excuse me?
They would be going out to OBT anyhow.
Yes, sir.
So going out off of Binion, which has it's already built for trucks coming in and out, where Lakewood is basically built for cars,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not that long of a street.
Hey, how y'all doing? We're going to throw the whole team at you. Logan Opsahl, Lowndes Law Firm, 215 North Eola Drive. The reason I'm up here is because familiar with the property, the area. You've seen me here before on this property, unrelated properties. Excuse me. I think y'all are on the right track. All of this area, has had some trouble. There's been a lot of coordination with FDOT, with the county. I think we've understood for some years now why the city's looking at this intersection as well, even though it's a county maintained road. Talking about Lakeview, we've talked about Mayflower in the past too. It's old right of way. Believe the city took ownership of it at one point. Notwithstanding, much coordination is going on, and a lot of this precipitated from the TIA and identifying those areas that need work. And you talked about the median in particular, Commissioner Woods. There is another cross-access street across from there. Putting in a median there, given the proposed width and what the county not just is willing to do, but not do, is part of that consideration. But in looking at the intersection, the improvement to the turn lane that our TIA has identified, all of those holistically are looking to relieve the traffic that, quite frankly, you live through every day. So those things should be a net improvement. But I wanted to answer your question directly.
Anyone else? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank all you gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone here from the public that wishes to speak on this matter? Very well. We'll bring it back to board for discussion and motion.
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that for recommended approval of the Link Apopka Major Development Plan.
Thank you, ma'am. Motion by Commissioner Norwood. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Washington. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Do we have any new business? Any old business? I do have one item of old business that I just want to say while we're here. When you want to speak, please let me recognize you so the name for the record. Because, like I said, Commissioner Ryan, and then you started talking